Hello and welcome back to the channel. Recently, there have been a number of aircrafts that have come to the flight simulation world, and some of them are super high fidelity aircrafts and come with a price tag. In this video, we're going to dive into those prices and see is there any alarming changes or is just the atypical flight simulation. Stay tuned. PMGG recently released the 777-200 for Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 and 2020, and there has been a lot of heat about that price. One, because the 300 is available in 2020, and a lot of people had bought it, but there is no price discount if you own it, if you want to buy the 200. And that really set people off because the price tag for the 200 is almost $80. They priced it respectively at 7720 to go for the, the 777-200. So the pricing, yeah, sure, it's a little bit gimmicky, but is it a little expensive? Well, absolutely, I agree. It is a bit of a price jump for an aircraft, especially when the differences between a 300 and the 200 are pretty minor. Now let's also look at it though at a different aspect. And if you've been on my channel in the past, you know the way that I look at game title prices is based on the hours I can get out of the game. And my ratio is the following. If a game is $60, I should be able to hopefully get 60 hours worth of gameplay. Now, obviously, certain titles you can get a superior number of hours compared to the price tag. So it doesn't work with every title. And there are some that are $60, but you don't get as many hours worth of gameplay. An example of both of those two ideals is I'm going to look at Diablo 4 for an example. Now, I have a lot of hours into Diablo 4 where the dollar per playtime doesn't actually work out the way that I normally have it. In fact, that means I actually got a really good deal if it looks at something like 50 cents per hour currently with Diablo 4. Whereas a title such as, let's say, God of War, let's say the initial God of War that came to the PC, initially that game came out, I think, for $50. And initially, I only played about 18, 20 hours of that game. I beat it, had fun with it. And I had the experience was just off the charts for me. So in that aspect, the gameplay or the hours per dollar was about $3. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Think about this. When you go to the theater, okay, when you go to see a movie, price of a ticket varies, of course, theater to theater, and then you have discount days and all that. But a flat price of a theater, let's just average it at about $15 a ticket to see a 2-hour movie. You know, some movies are a little longer, but we're going to say $2. 2 hours. We're going to break that down to $7 an hour. You know, it's almost $8 an hour. Let's just round it up to $8 an hour. If you look at it at that aspect and then throw in popcorn and all that, was the experience of, let's say you add in that popcorn, you got the movie ticket. Let's say that movie's about $20, $25 at this point now per hour. Was the experience the same? Was it worth the dollar amount? And a lot of people are going to question and say no. Well, you can also think about it in the aspect of going to a theme park. You know, you pay, let's say, $100 to go to Disney World or Universal, whatever the price is nowadays. You go to one of these theme parks and you spend all this kind of money. You're there for 10 hours. That's $10 per hour. Was the experience worth that price tag? And that's the way I look at video games. And with movies, of course, it's a lot differently because, yeah, you're going to spend that $15 on a ticket and then buy maybe buy the digital version or maybe get streaming so you can watch it later on. However it is, there's additional costs that add to that experience that may drop the price as time goes on. If I look at movies like Ghostbusters and Back to the Future and Star Wars, you know, I spent a lot of money on these movies over the years, but that dollar per experience is substantially lower than that initial cost because I went back and watched those films many of times. And if you look at just Flight Sim alone, now I had the I had bought the version that was, what, 80 bucks or so? I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But I had bought that version. And I have over 100 hours worth of flight simming. Now, there are add-ons to that and all that jazz, and other developers taking from that pie. But the price per flight hour is substantially lower than that dollar per hour, right? So you have to look at the same thing, and I look at it with these aircrafts as well. The 777, like I said, 7720. Okay, so am I going to get 77 hours worth of the 777? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm already at 10 hours probably. And over the next couple months, I'm definitely going to hit that 77 hours. Okay, the Phoenix, I am way over the price tag for the Phoenix. Now, the initial Phoenix in euros is about 50 bucks, and then, there's the expansion pack as well. So you add it all together, let's just round it up to about $100. Have I put 100 hours in the Phoenix? Absolutely, I have. Absolutely. So that dollar per flight, dollar per flight hour makes perfect sense. The iFly Max, when it was released, $70. Have I put in 70 hours worth of iFly? Absolutely. I probably put in 140 plus hours in the iFly. So at this point, that iFly is 50 cents per flight hour. It's still a lot cheaper than going to a real airport and flying there. The PMGG 737 was $70. Well, I think it was like 75 at launch. And of course, I put in way over 75 hours of that aircraft alone. The Unibil's A350, another price tag that people question quite a bit. And that price tag US is about $70. Have I put in 70 hours of the A350? Not yet. Will I, though, by the end of the time I use it? Absolutely. I guarantee you I'll put in over 70 hours worth of that aircraft in there. I think of the Kodiak as an example. The Kodiak from SWS, it was like a $25 plane, I think. And then there's a float version that I bought as well. So let's just round it up to 40 bucks, okay? I have put in hundreds of hours in the Kodiak. And I bet you that's like 20 cents per flight hour. So if you break down the math and break down the experience you have, yeah, the initial price is expensive. But is the experience you're having with that plane worth the price? And that's something you have to decide on your own. You really do, because a lot of things with flight sim, there is an initial upfront cost that really is high. I think about my Honeycomb Alpha, my Honeycomb Bravo, I got my Turtle Beach rudder pedals. All these expenses were extremely high going into the sim. But again, price per flight hour, how has it worked out? I've had my Honeycomb Alpha and Bravo for almost 5 years, and I have thousands of hours in flight simming. So yes, the price per flight hour works out in my favor. And that is something that I think a lot of people seem to forget. These dev teams, they're not massive corporations making billions of dollars, right? A lot of them are small groups, and PMGG is a bigger team. There is no doubt. Just like any builds, they are one of the bigger premier developers for flight simming. Did they have to charge $77 for this plane? Probably not. Could they have gotten away with $60 and maybe got more users in it? Absolutely. But they knew what their they knew what the quality of the plane was going to be. They put a lot of effort into making sure it is compatible with Flight Sim 2024, so there is that development aspect as well. They also did an upgrade with the sounds, and they did a bunch of other behind-the-scenes things that add into that price tag. Thanks for watching this video. Leave me a comment down below your thoughts of pricing within Flight Sim. Too much, too little, right about where it should be. What do you think these upgrades should be for planes? Do you think that we should have got the discount for having the 777-200? If you own the 300, should you got the 200 discount or not? Thanks for watching. Leave me that comment, give me that thumbs up, and we'll see you for the next video. Take care.